welcome back. This is SK Vapor Script and
Miana.
good seeing you again. I guess you either stuck around for part 2 or maybe you're just interested in part 2. We got a few more questions to go over, and then some of the questions we're going to go over is on vaping etiquette and vaping techniques, you know, because vaping is totally different than smoking a cigarette. If you try to vape the way you smoke, it's not going to work for you. That's just all there is to it. And I'm going to go into why. There's a lot to that. So that's what this video is going to be about, is answering those big questions. And that's why we had to separate it from the technical terms, because it's just too much information for one video. First of all, we're going to go into where does the cigarette come from. And the e-cig, what we're going to do is, I'm going to let my wife Miana, she's going to explain that here in just a second. The thing is, she made one little mistake. She said that Herbert Gilbert's invention is what led Han Link to make his. What she meant was that Herbert Gilbert's invention, the smokeless cigarette, was really the idea that paved the way for Han Link to come out with his e-cig. But it didn't inspire him or give him the idea necessarily. He came up with the idea. He came up with the idea because he was wanting to help himself and his father, and it was very sad that his father passed away, you know, before they was invented. But anyways, I'll let her talk to you about that.
Okay, so we've been asked a few questions. Like, one of them is, where did the electronic cigarette come from? Well, in 1963, Herbert Gilbert patented a smokeless non-tobacco cigarette. In his patent, Gilbert described how his device worked by replacing burning tobacco and paper with heated, moist, flavored air. Gilbert's device involved no nicotine. Smokers of Gilbert's device enjoyed flavored steam. Attempts to commercialize Gilbert's invention failed, and his product fell into obscurity. However, it deserves a mention as the earliest patent for an electronic cigarette. It's also what gave Han Link the idea to, well, make the patent the electronic cigarette. Han Link was a really, really heavy smoker, and he had a dream that he was drowning, suffocating in this ocean, and all of a sudden it turned into a mist and he could breathe again. And it inspired him to create the electronic cigarette so that he could help his cancer-stricken father. Han Link's father passed away before the e-cigarette was first patented, but the electronic cigarette did offer a means for other smokers to quit smoking harmful cigarettes and still have a similar nicotine delivery system. His design was based off of the concept of using a piezoelectronic ultrasound emitting element to vaporize a pressurized liquid containing a propylene glycol solution, which also contains nicotine. The propylene glycol / nicotine solution would go into a replaceable plastic cartridge, which functions as a liquid container and a mouthpiece. The design produced vapor which can be inhaled and provide a medium for nicotine in the bloodstream via the lungs. In May 2004, the cig-a-like stick-style electronic cigarette was introduced into the Chinese domestic market. The company Han Link worked for, Golden Dragon Holdings, changed their name to Ruyan, which means like smoke. When you see RY or RUY on a device or e-juice, it stands for the Ruyan Company. They typically make e-hookahs and tobacco e-juices today. In April 2006, electronic cigarettes was released in European countries. From 2006 to 2007, the e-cigs were released into the U.S. market. In 2007, the electronic cigarette received its first international patent. So that's a little bit of the history on electronic cigarettes. So I hope that answers some questions.
Okay, so in an earlier video, I mentioned priming a mini-cig, a cig-a-like, you know, one of the little cigarette-looking e-cig devices. And I mentioned it while I was, you know, talking about priming, you know, like a coal or a wick or something where you put a little bit of juice on it to let it prime. Well, that's a totally different definition. Priming a mini-cig, which is actually the reason why we have our little buddy, our penguin right here, sitting here. Let me borrow this from you, buddy. This is a cig-a-like. Now, these have actually come a long ways, and a lot of people have actually successfully quit using these devices. I know I couldn't. I tried it, and it just did not work at all for me. But that doesn't mean that it won't work for you. It doesn't mean that at all. So try it. These things are handy to an extent. Let's say something happens. All my batteries go dead. I'm stuck in a place where I can't get to, where I can't get a battery from a mod, can't charge it, can't do anything. I don't want to smoke cigarettes. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't smoke cigarettes. That's everybody's own decision. I'm not one of those vapors that say don't smoke. And the reason why is because I don't like it when people tell me don't vape. So, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. But here's the thing. If I'm stuck in a place and I don't want to smoke a cigarette, but I can't use this for some reason, something happens and I can't use one of my bigger devices, then I will usually pick up one of these, a disposable or something like this, just so I can have something to vape on. But it's such a smaller battery and everything that it takes priming in order to get it to work right. Because, see, I'll show you. If I just pull on it like this, nothing. Not a darn thing comes out. The reason why is because it's not primed. What priming is you have to heat up this battery and this atomizer so you can get a proper amount of vapor from this, or actually get anything from it. And I'll show you. This is priming. After all this time, this atomizer is finally daggone kicked out on me. Well, like I said, these type of devices just don't float my boat. But anyways, that would have been priming. This atomizer has petered out on me. Let me see. I don't think I have another one, but I'll look real quick. No, I don't. I don't really invest in these things. So here's what I'm going to do. This is an e-hookah. It is practically the same idea. So since this cartridge has run out, that's why when it runs out, nothing happens. There you go, buddy. This is an e-hookah. It's practically the same thing. The difference is it's disposable, which means that I can't charge it in any possible way. I can't add any e-juice to it. Most of these have typically no nicotine in them. It's just for the flavor. So let me show you how to prime this thing. When you don't prime it, it looks like this. I've got a little bit, but watch this. Now it's primed. You want to pull it a lot, puff on it, and just, take long puffs on it to heat up that battery, and then you can pull decent amounts of vapor from it.
Here we go.
That's the difference. I couldn't do that without priming it. That is what priming is. Now, here's the thing. Priming is not really useful for anything but these smaller devices. These bigger batteries, even the Egos or the Ace, they don't require priming. Priming is only necessary for batteries that are smaller than 3.7 volts. Now, that's not what I'm talking about when it comes to, voltage like you would do on a voltage device. What I mean is, most of your Egos are typically 3.7 volts and higher. And then you got mods and all kinds of stuff which start at 3.7 volts, some are 4 or 5, yada, yada, yada. The thing is that with these, okay, I had to prime this to get puff, but with this, no priming necessary. So that's your difference. That's why you don't hear about priming as much anymore, because it's not necessary with the bigger devices. So the more and more we move away from these smaller ones, the less and less you're going to even hear of the word priming. So, you heard about on the news where that e-cig exploded, and now you're kind of scared that your e-cig at home is going to explode, or if you buy one, it's going to explode. And that's understandable, but here's the thing about the news. They like to get viewers. So they air, and they blow out of proportion, and they leave out as many facts as they can to scare people so that people watch and make a big fuss. And the reason why the news does that is because, let's be honest, I can go on the computer, and half the time, everything on the news except for local stuff, I already know about days before they do. So they have a hard time getting the viewers anymore because it's getting to the point where we don't need the news. Let's just be realistic. We don't. So they air all kinds of bull crap, trying to, it's just a biased network. I mean, you're not going to find any true information on there. So, did an e-cig explode down in Florida? Yes, it did. But was it an e-cig like you're thinking of? No, it was not. Though we'll never know all the facts about what happened in Florida because it's all been covered up, hushed up, and everything else, and a bunch of lies and conjecture. What we do know was the guy down in Florida was using some kind of modified thing. I don't know if he built it himself or if he got it from somebody, but it was like a flashlight mod. And it had no protective circuits, completely unregulated, had no vent holes. And he was stacking batteries in this device that had absolutely no protective circuits whatsoever, were not, for vaping. I mean, this dude went cheap all the way and just got a bunch of junk and pretty much threw it together without any common sense or knowledge of really what he was doing. And so, when he did this, what happened was, these devices have to have vent holes because it releases gases that the batteries get when they get hot. Not only that, the batteries need protective circuits so that they won't operate in extreme conditions, such as, at low voltage points or high voltage, too many amps or anything like that, so they don't, do stuff like that. Now, you don't really hear much about laptops exploding or cell phones or anything like that, but it happens. The reason why is because it's the same exact thing. What you have to do is you have to practice battery safety. When you use a device such as a mod, and let's say you want to stack batteries, the only way that you should ever stack batteries, if it's what you want to do, if this is something you need, you have to do it in a protected mod. It's got protective circuits. You need vent holes so that if gases build up, they can escape and not just build up and then, expand and then hit a point of critical mass and then explode. It's just really, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, it's a lot of common sense stuff. If you do stupid stuff, stupid things happen. And that's exactly what happened to him. Everything that he did was not anything that you're going out here and purchasing. This is something that he did on his own, and it exploded. And I mean, it's like making meth in your house. If you're dumb enough to make meth in your house and blow up your house, it's your own fault. And that's just all there is to it. You don't need to be scared of e-cigs. Your e-cig is not going to explode. They are relatively new, so, you just have to be careful. You have to watch what kind of batteries you buy. Don't go on eBay and buy a bunch of batteries. You want to buy batteries from a trusted vendor. And don't use batteries out of a laptop. Don't do like some idiots are doing where they're taking old laptop batteries out, cutting it up, and taking them 18650s out and throwing them in mods. Because it's just not smart. It just isn't. You want IMR, high resistance batteries that have protected circuits and, are safe to use in your devices. And also, you know what? It's not a bad idea to do just a little bit of research on your device and the batteries that it needs to take and all that stuff before you do it. And there's lots of great websites online for battery safety. All you got to do literally is click into Google and type in battery safety. And not only that, but, there are a lot of other great YouTube reviewers out there. The reason why we shoot YouTube videos and everything is because it just seems like what you do when you get into vaping and into the vaping community. And it's just a way to get out there. Not only that, but we want to help other new vapors out there who are like us and, have to vape on a budget, have to get what they can afford and needs their dollar to go as far as it can go because you can only afford so much. But, here in a little bit, it ain't going to be right this minute, but I'm going to give you a bunch of links. Well, not links. I'm going to give you a bunch of names, and you type in the names, and you can find their channel. But, yeah, it wasn't a regular e-cig. This was a dude who was messing with stuff he shouldn't have been. So as long as you do your research, practice battery safety, and, you know, don't charge your device with something, with a charger that's not meant for it, that, you know, has way too much more power than what the e-cig, you know, needs. They have their own chargers for e-cigs, and that's the kind of chargers that you need to use. Don't use your iPod charger on your e-cig. I mean, that's just all there is to it. What is my favorite e-juice? You know, that's actually a really hard question. It changes very often. If you're lucky, you might find a favorite e-juice that's just your favorite at all times. But, I mean, my favorite e-juice could be Diamond Vape from Carolina Vape Kings. It's definitely up there as a favorite. I love it. But at the same time, it could be Popular Energy Drink from Vape J Juice. I love it. It's my favorite. It gives me a vape-gasm. But at the same time, it could be Peach from Vape J Juice, because at the same time, it's just makes my hair stand up on my arms. At the same time, it could be this Sweet Red from Carolina Vape Kings, because it's absolutely delicious. Sometimes it's Twisted Java from Halo. You know, it changes. That's just how it is. Your taste is subjective, and it's just amazing how, you know, something that you'll love this month, you won't care so much for next month. It's just, that's the thing about vaping. There's so many options, and your flavors change, and it's not like smoking. With smoking, you had the one flavor, you were addicted to it, you had to have that flavor. This is a whole different ball game. This is like going out to dinner and saying, well, you know, I've been having steak, and I like steak, but I'm kind of getting tired of steak. Let's have some seafood tonight. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to eat the same damn thing every night. So every once in a while, you gotta switch it up. That's my favorite e-juices at the moment. But like I said, next month it'll probably be different.
Hey, I'm going to talk about my favorite e-juice. Now, in another video, you probably heard that it was Tiger's Blood, and it is. Tiger's Blood is really sweet, coconut flavor. And recently, we went to Carolina Vape Kings, right?
Yeah.
Carolina Vape Kings. Sorry, you guys. I'm having brain farts. And I got a pina colada flavor. I haven't tried it yet, and I'm really excited to try it because I have a really strong feeling that it just might be what I'm looking for as far as, you know, close to Tiger's Blood. So I'll have to keep you guys updated on that in our video about Carolina Vape Kings and their e-juices and how we like them and things like that. So hopefully, definitely you'll get to see it because I am really ecstatic about trying it.
So, as an update, you know, we was doing these videos, and of course, we was going to put this Q&A up first, but we ended up getting a little bit behind on it, and we ended up doing Carolina Vape King's juice review first. And so, Liana's actually vaped pina colada, and she told you what she thought of it in the Carolina Vape King juice review, but is it your new favorite e-juice, or is it still Tiger's Blood? That is the question.
Well, let's try it out right here.
We get tons of messages.
I know. It really comes close to Tiger's Blood, but I have to say, I'm still really in love with Tiger's Blood. I love it. I'm going to have to get some more J juice. I'm going to have to.
Okay, now, who do I watch my videos from? What other YouTube reviewers do I like? I mentioned that not too very long ago, so what I'm going to do is right here real quick, you're going to see some links. And they're going to start coming down. These, you know, I like their videos. It's nice to watch them. You get their perspective. So far, my favorite videos out of all of them is, of course, Rip Trippers. He is just absolutely excellent. I love his builds. I like how funny he is. He's a nut. He's just easy to watch, and he definitely, I don't know, he gets really technical and stuff. But another good video reviewer for that would be Pete Pissardo, and he's just excellent when it gets into the technicalities of all that stuff. So definitely check out their videos. You can look through my page. You can see where I've watched tons of their videos. So you can go off my page, or you can search them in the, search box. Just look for the names. What is vaping etiquette, and why do we need vaping etiquette? I thought vaping wasn't smoking. Well, vaping isn't smoking. Vaping, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor again, but vaping, in my opinion, is definitely healthier than cigarettes. Not just for me, but even for the people around me. But vaping etiquette, what it really is it's common decency. I mean, it's really just regular etiquette. And also, everybody needs their own personal space. So, it's just being respectful of others the way that you would want to be respectful, want them to be respectful of you. Really, the best thing is the golden rule. You don't want to treat people a way that you wouldn't want them to treat you. Kind of like blowing vapor in someone's face. You wouldn't want someone blowing smoke in your face. Oh, but the vapor doesn't smell like smoke. It's so much better. Does it matter? I mean, really. You don't want to be blowing at people's faces because it's rude. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's just rude. Here's a couple tips for vaping etiquette. Some do's and don'ts, if you will. Do. Always ask before vaping indoor in, like, a restaurant or somewhere. If you're going to vape inside, you should ask them if it's okay, because it is their establishment. I know that, there's not too many laws on indoor vaping, like indoor smoking and stuff, but you should always ask because it's respectful. It's their establishment. At the end of the day, it's their decision. And if they do say no, or, if they tell you they don't want you doing it there, don't be rude. It's their business, and it's their right at the end of the day. I mean, that's all there is to it. Another do. Correct misconceptions gently. There's a lot of people this is new to. It scares some people. There's a lot of biased news out there, kind of like with that battery thing. And, a lot of people, especially people who don't know anything about it, they get scared of it. So don't be mean or rude to these people who don't understand. Just try to correct the misconceptions. Try to, as long as you study up, learn about the myths of e-cigs, learn about, learn how to educate these people, and try to educate these people in a nice way. And if you're dealing with one of these people who just is an anti and is just completely against vaping because they're so against smoking that they don't want any smokers to have an easier time, they just wish we would all die off the face of the earth, and they exist, you're going to meet them, trust me. The best thing to do is just walk away. They want to fight. Don't be the one to give it to them. Another do. Be respectful in enclosed places. And I'm going to show you a clip. I'm going to show you a couple of clips here in a second on vaping outside and vaping in enclosed places, because there are restaurants that let you vape. But you need to be respectful in enclosed place because there are children around, there's non-smokers, there's non-vapors, there's smokers who are non-vapors. And the thing is we don't need to be exposing these people to our vapor, to our nicotine. I know, I've heard studies that say that secondhand vapor doesn't have, nicotine in it. Well, for one, you can watch Rip Tripper's post. He's got an excellent video on that, on vaping in public. And the thing is the science on that secondhand vapor thing isn't quite precise. And it's right. If me and my wife in here, if we're sitting here and we're chucking up vapor, there's times, man, I get a serious buzz because of all the vapor and the nicotine in the room. And if people say that there's no nicotine in secondhand vapor, there's no way. There's just no way, because you can feel it when you're in a room with a lot of vapors. You can just feel the impact of it. And it's kind of like when you get some e-juice on me. When I get some e-juice on my hand, I swear, it takes a couple of hours, but eventually I feel that nicotine soak in. So, that's one thing about it. And also, some of these flavorings and stuff, some people are sensitive and allergic to. And if you're vaping in a place like that, in an enclosed area, you know, and that person be allergic to, because you don't know. It ain't like you go in this place and ask every person that works there what they're allergic to, you know, and they have an allergic reaction, then that's your fault for doing that and exposing them to that. And all that's going to end up doing is casting vapors in a bad light. And the FDA is already ignoring our voices. I mean, look, go through YouTube and look at how many people have successfully quit smoking and are living healthier lives and are able to breathe because of e-cigs, and yet they still say that nobody has quit smoking cigarettes. I mean, it's just... Anyways, like I said, let's not get into politics. I apologize. Follow the rules. If a place bans vaping, then don't ban there. Don't ban there. Don't vape there. You know, it's just like I was saying a second ago. If they don't want you vaping there, then don't do it. You're asking for a fight. And all that does, again, is make all of us look bad. Okay, some don'ts. Don't vape in a movie theater. Now, yes, sometimes you go to a movie theater and it's practically empty. And if it is practically empty, then there's no... and they'll let you vape in it. There's no harm in it. And, you know, if there's people there and you sit in the back row and you do some stealth vaping, which I'm going to show you stealth vaping in a clip, you know, where I'm vaping in a restaurant and being respectful. But I'm also going to show you after that in vaping techniques how to stealth vape. Don't be careless with waste. Don't be throwing your e-juice bottles away, you know, everywhere, and your batteries and your wrappers and your tanks and your coals. You know, recycle. Throw it away in the right receptacle, and don't just have it laying around all over the place. You want to be clean. You know, we're trying to be a clean people. I have to write this stuff down because otherwise I'll never remember it. Oh, here's a big one. Don't put down smokers. I mean, come on. Most of us were smokers once anyways. A lot of us had a really hard time quitting. As I recall, I had a really horrible time quitting, 8 years, and I thank God every day that, you know, I was led to this because it saved my life. But at the same time, you know, none of us, even when we were smokers, liked being put down for smoking. Why are we putting down smokers now? You know, I remember when I was a smoker and I knew it was killing me. Does that mean I need to hear that from you? I mean, and it's the same thing now. Don't turn into a snob because you started vaping. Don't put them down. You know, everybody makes a decision. And, you know, some people actually like smoking. You know, even though it ain't good for them, they actually like doing it. That was the hardest thing for me to quit, was because I actually did like smoking. And, you know, even now, if, you know, I want to sit back, take a, you know, glass of scotch and let a cigar burn, I'm going to do it. I don't care what anybody else says. It's my decision. It's my life. And I'm going to die the way I want to. And at the end of the day, that's what all of us are going to do. So don't put them down. And if they want help, give it to them. So don't be, you know, high and mighty about it. We were all there once. Don't ask somebody to share their e-cig and pull off of it. I mean, for one, definitely a stranger or some random person. You know, if somebody offers you to let them try it, or, you know, they got some rubbers, you know, some condoms, which is a funny word, but, you know, it's just a little rubber piece that goes on top of them. You see about all vape lounges, they have the rubber pieces. But don't ask some stranger, some random person to use their e-cig and try their juice. It's weird. They don't know where your mouth has been. You know, I mean, it's just uncomfortable. Don't make someone feel uncomfortable and put them on the spot like that. It's just awkward. Well, anyways, here's some clips of us vaping outside and vaping in public, and, you know, in a restaurant. And, yeah, right here, maybe?
Okay.
So, you're in a restaurant, and they're okay with you maybe vaping a little bit. They're not going to kick you out for it. So, does that mean you can just go ahead and chuck out clouds? Wrong. Yeah, it's not smoking, and it's not bad for me as, you know, as bad for me as smoking was, and it's not as bad for other people around me like smoking, with secondhand smoke. But it's a relatively new thing, and a lot of people aren't used to it, and we shouldn't be scaring people away. And also, the science on secondhand vapor isn't precise, so we shouldn't be having it around children or non-vapors or smokers who don't want it around them. But so what you want to do is you want to practice vaping etiquette. When you're out in a place like this, and, you know, they allow you to be in here and do this, you want to try not to make a stink. I'm going to explain it more in vaping techniques, but what you want to do is you want to stealth vape. Something like this. I let out little to no vapor, which means that it's not going to be in the air, other people ain't going to see it, and nobody's going to be breathing it. But I still get the nicotine I need. I'm still getting as much vapor as I would be and throwing out clouds. I'm just not letting it out.
We're being used, Mama.
Hi, it's Miana here with FK Vapors. We're out here. We're at, what is this, Western Sizzlin'? Yeah. We just got breakfast with our family, and we're going to talk about vaping outside. So when you vape outside, I just throw clouds wherever I want to, except for in people's faces. You know, it's kind of rude. I don't want to be that type of person. I don't want to turn anyone against vaping. Simple, you know, vaping etiquette. Outside, do whatever, just don't throw it in people's faces. It's just a common courtesy. So, here we go. Vaping outside.
Alright, vaping versus smoking. Why can't you vape the same way you smoke? What do you have to do in order to get the full experience? And, you know, why is it different? Okay, well, first off, before we even start on that road, I want to say that I've finally got my mom to start vaping, which is amazing. She has smoked for a lot longer than I have, ever since way before I was born. She quit, you know, when she was pregnant with me and my brother, but other than that, you know, she has smoked practically her entire life. And so, you know, she smokes a lot. She, you know, gets these migraines from smoking a lot, and so she takes a lot of goody powders, and the goody powders hurt her. And so I've been worried about her for a long time. And we've, you know, she's finally started vaping, you know, today. So, you know, it's wonderful news. But we're going to show a clip real quick, and what it's going to do is it'll show you the difference in, you know, between what that vapor looks like and what that smoke looks like. And then I'm going to explain more into why smoking and vaping are totally different animals. They're just, you know, different nicotine delivery devices. But other than that, they're completely different.
Today we're here to show you the difference between what vaping does to your lungs and what, you know, smoking does to your lungs. Smoking has over 4,000 chemicals, and, you know, it gets in your lungs and everything, and vaping has PG, BG, artificial flavoring, and nicotine. So we're going to show you what it looks like when you exhale. Okay, there's that. And then you
if you want that.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Different. Okay. Bam, bam. Nicotine, vaping. So, there you go. A little different.
Okay, so why is that as important as it is? Well, the thing is this right here uses an atomizer, a coil, a wire, pretty much, a heating element that heats up, and when it heats up to a certain temperature, it causes the e-juice inside of it, your tank, or your, you know, on your, going through your bridge, or on your wick, which is, you know, just different words for different things that go with the atomizer, the heating element. It heats that juice up and it turns it into a vapor. But there's actually no combustion going on. It's like putting water on a stove, heating it up until it turns into steam. There's no combustion whatsoever. But when you smoke a cigarette, you're lighting a cigarette, and it's combustion, and you're smoking. And the act of smoking itself is what creates that tar. Have you ever, has anybody out there have a fireplace where you burn wood? Because if you burn wood in a fireplace, what happens? that stovepipe fills with creosote, which is essentially tar. It's just a gigantic cigarette. I mean, not tobacco, but you get what I'm saying. Creosote tar, and that's what you're seeing there on that napkin when the smoke exhaled is tar. But the thing is, that tar, which is one of the biggest things that's killing you, is also one of the biggest things that you're tasting when you smoke a cigarette or a cigar or anything. So when you take that combustion away and you take that tar and everything else, you're taking away really the flavor. And that's why when you're out there and you're trying to find a good tobacco flavor, it's very hard to find good tobacco flavor, because it's hard to recreate something without combustion. You take combustion away and you're dealing with a whole different animal. You can find, there are flavors out there. I've even vaped some flavors at Carolina Vape Kings that was, you know, amazingly close to the taste of cigarettes. Definitely their RY4, it tastes like clove cigarettes. It does. It just tastes exactly like it. And if you like pipe tobacco, there is a juice that they sell at Mountain Oak Vapors. I believe it's called Southern Gentleman. Let me look. Yes, it's called Southern Gentleman. And if you'll put that Southern Gentleman on 24 milligrams of nicotine, it tastes exactly like pipe tobacco. But it is hard. It's hard to find tobacco juices that taste like tobacco juices, and it's because of the lack of combustion. Now, another thing is, you know, it's different. And why is it different? Well, here's the thing. When you smoke a cigarette and you're combusting that, those particles of nicotine in there are so small that they can go into the smallest passageways of the lungs. And what happens is when you hit a cigarette, within 7 seconds, that's just no time at all, that nicotine enters your bloodstream and you get the initial nicotine hit. So really, practically immediately, from the moment you light a cigarette up, you're getting it. And when you hit a cigarette, you hit it like, you know, you hit it with your lungs, you pull it in, down into your lungs, you blow it out, and you don't take long puffs or anything like that. You don't sit on a cigarette and go, you just don't do that. And the reason why is because it'd be kind of like hotboxing. You just burn that cigarette all the way down. And see, that's the thing. You try smoking an e-cig like that, and it's just not going to work. I'm not getting nothing. And you're not going to. You can't smoke an e-cig like a cigarette. And here's why. An e-cig has a propylene glycol vegetable glycerin solution, which is the base carrier for your nicotine. It is what makes it a nicotine delivery device. The thing about PG and VG, though, is that they're kind of somewhat thick, and they bind to the nicotine, making it a much larger molecule than what you're dealing with in smoke. And because of that, it can't fit into the smallest passageways of the lungs, which means that you're not going to get that nicotine hit, nowhere near as quickly. How do you fix that? Well, for one, you have to take longer pulls than you would with a cigarette. You can't take short puffs. A, because the atomizer doesn't heat up that quickly. It takes at least 2 to 3 seconds for that thing to heat up good enough to start getting vapor. Thirdly, since it's not, you know, getting to the lungs as fast, you're going to have to pull it and do more of a mouth hit. You want the nicotine to start going in your throat, your mouth, and in the capillaries of your nose. That's where you're going to get most of your nicotine, because we're not dealing with cigarettes. So there's no need to pull it down into the lungs. You got to take longer puffs so that you can get enough vapor, get enough nicotine in that vapor to actually get something, as well as concentrate it in the right way to where you can get the maximum nicotine dosage. And I'm going to read these right here because I don't want to get anything backwards. But I got 2 main vaping techniques. One for nicotine concentration and one for vapor production. Because, well, when I first started vaping, nicotine was incredibly important to me. I wanted my nicotine. But as time has gone by, I've started caring less and less. And I know a lot of the older vapors out there don't like cloud chasers. But I got to tell you, one of the biggest ups for me, one of the biggest things that got me to quit smoking was seeing the vapor. Because I know after about a month or so of vaping, once I went back to a cigarette, you know, it was like I couldn't understand where all the smoke had went. You know, I'd take a hit and there was nothing coming out, and I was like, wow, where did they all go? And it was the same as always, but you know, all of a sudden it was like, you know, it just couldn't do anything at all. Anyways, this nicotine concentration, you don't draw as you would a cigarette. You want to pull it kind of like you're drinking a soda through a straw. That's how you want to pull on it. You want to take anywhere from a 5 to 6 second hit, and just let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a 5 to 6 second hit. I'm going to pull with my mouth, not with my lungs. I'm going to take a quick 2 second inhale and let go of the button, and then I'm going to hit it again for 5 seconds. And now you want to adjust this to your preference. That's how I like to hit to get my nicotine. But adjust it to your preference so you don't choke up. But yeah, I hit for 5 to 6 seconds, take a 2 second inhale with my finger off the button, take another 5 to 6 second inhale, and then I take just a small puff in, and then I exhale out my nose. And trust me, if you try it, you're going to start feeling that nicotine buzz. It works. And I'm telling you, if I do that 2 or 3 times, I'm going to get a buzz from it, even now. And, you know, it's because that's how you get that nicotine in. So if you're needing that nicotine and you're thinking, this e-cig just ain't working for me, I'm going to need a cigarette, it just ain't doing it, it might be the way you're vaping. So you might want to try doing that. And I can already feel it now, and I've been vaping for just about a year now. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Drank plenty of water. Alright, vaping technique number 2 is vapor production. I'm going to pretty much do the same exact thing. The only difference is I am not going to do that through the nose thing. Same exact move. The only difference is I didn't exhale out the nose, and I didn't do that second brief inhale. And honestly, I call that vapor production because you just seen all that vapor production, but you could probably do the same exact thing for nicotine, because man, I get tons of nicotine that way. And I'm not inhaling it into my lungs at all. There is no need to pull it into your lungs. I'm just pulling it to my throat, and I'm getting just the nicotine I need. And that's really how you're going to have to do it. That's, if you're not getting the nicotine you need, that may be your issue. Now, before we go and sign off, and I know it's been an incredibly long video, I apologize, but, you know, I've had a lot of questions the past 2 weeks, and I just didn't know any other way to address them. So I figured I'd just break it into a 2-part video. And again, look at my last video. In the future, we'll try to put at the end of, you know, our Q&A videos or emails. But anyways, if you have any requests, comments, or questions, just go ahead and ask. But I want to go ahead and talk about chain vaping, and then do a brief talk about the stealth vaping you've seen in the clip earlier. Chain vaping. What is chain vaping? Well, if you ever see anybody, and this is like myself, who just all the time, this is glued to their hand, glued to their mouth, they vape constantly. Well, they probably chain vapors. And chain vaping is essentially just vaping all the time. And, you know, that's the cool thing about vaping is that you can. With cigarettes, it was hard for me not to smoke all the time. I was one of the people who really, you know, it wouldn't have took much for me to be the kind of person to light a cigarette, smoke it, and then light that same cigarette with another one. But, you know, I couldn't do it because who can afford that? And secondly, you know, you feel like crap if you do that for long. But that didn't mean that it wasn't hard for me not to do that. There were times that, you know, it'd only be 20, 30 minutes in between cigarettes for me. And that's bad. But, you know, really it's only bad because, you know, it looked badly upon. And it is bad, but you get what I'm saying. But with this, I can actually chain vape all the time. It don't make me feel like crap. I'm still just as healthy as ever, and I am more healthier than I've ever been. I'm not getting migraines like I used to be, and I just I'm getting healthier every day. The only problem I'm having is that I've got so much energy that I'm just not sleeping like I need to be. We're sleeping maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. I know I look tired, but I am kind of tired right now, but I want to finish this video. But anyways, I have a lot more energy than I used to have. You know, I used to need to sleep 8 to 10 hours a day to get rested and still be tired. And now I'm ready to go all the time. And it's hard for me to get any rest because as soon as I sleep for 2 or 3 hours, I'm ready to wake up and go again. You know, it takes 10, 20 minutes to wake up. But, chain vaping, before I just rambling on, I apologize. But with chain vaping, what you want to do is you want to use more than one device because you don't want to put too much pressure on this atomizer. Because if you keep on hitting it and hitting it and hitting it and hitting it like that, then you can actually, you know, possibly cause this thing to really heat up and maybe even cause damage. Now, I gotta be honest, with the mods like this and this, I don't really have that issue. I have not had any problems. I have vaped this constantly all day long, and this one, and I switch in between, and really that's what I'm trying to say with chain vaping is you want to keep 1 or 2 setups and switch in between them. But really that's more important with the mini cigs and the ego style batteries, because with the ego style batteries, if you vape with just the one and you're a chain vapor, there is a chance that it can overheat and damage your device. So you want to keep a couple setups and interchange in between. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to do it even with the bigger devices, but like I said, me personally, I've not had any problems. Alright, stealth vaping. You've seen it in the video, but I mean, for all you know, I wasn't pulling it on it for long enough, so let me just go ahead and show you an example. This is a 5-second hit without the stealth vaping technique. That's exactly what I was doing in that restaurant. Now let me show you how I do it when stealth vaping. Same difference. I hate getting messed up on my words. Actually, I blew out quite a bit more than I expected to that time. You get used to it. But what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it again because I messed up. But what I'm doing is, when I stealth vape, you take a 3 to 5 second inhale with, you know, a puff, a toot, and then you take a brief inhale and a much larger inhale. Hold it in for a second, and when you blow out, you're going to exhale little to no vapor. Now let me do it the right way this time. There's a little bit, but nowhere near the huge cloud. And I could always cut down to 2 to 3 seconds if I wanted to, and then I definitely wouldn't blow out anything. And that is stealth vaping. If I've actually kept you in this video this long, you're a trooper, you're amazing. Please subscribe to us. We're always improving our videos. There's going to be a whole lot more juice reviews. We're going to be starting doing builds soon. I'm going to build the octopus soon, but the octopus has very much disappointed me. So I'm going to go and get me some new dripping atomizers, and then I'm going to do the octopus build as a practice build before I do those. And that's when you'll see that video. Because I've drilled out extra air holes in the octopus, and I'm really disappointed. I wanted to go into cloud chasing with it, but it's just sad. I get more vapor off of my regular stuff than I do on that at sub-ohm at 0.5 ohm. So, and that's with 100% VG juice too and everything. It's the dripping addy. It's a cheap clone dripping addy. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some better addies, and then I'll put a video up of me rebuilding the octopus for practice, and then in case you do want to rebuild it for some reason, it works good as flavor wise. You get excellent flavor from the octopus. It just don't work good vapor wise. So I'm gonna get some better addies. We're gonna do builds on them, and so I can get more into that part of the vaping culture. Definitely subscribe to us. At the end of the video, I'm going to put up some email links again and where I'm at, so you can message, comment, or whatever you need to do. Hit us up. Ask us whatever questions you need. Every single Monday, we'll shoot a video, and as of Tuesday, it should be up because we have satellite internet, so that's why we have to shoot up. Remember, that's why I have to put it in. completely messing up. That's why we have to put up videos after midnight. Anyways, hope you guys have a great one. Happy vaping. This has been SK Vapor. Peace out.